Hi, I thought I'd take a look at a couple of returned BM786 multimeters here. Let's have a look. Here we go. Two of them have been returned. I've been selling it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months maybe now, something like that. And I believe I've had 3 faulty now. And I got 2 of them back, but 2 of them had the same fault, apparently, in that it seemed to be something dicky with the switch, perhaps. That's be my guess. It was like, you know, the symptoms were like you put in, this one in particular, you put it in ohms, oh, there we go, forgot to change channel. Put it in ohms diode mode and it would like flicker around and stuff, and if you move the knob it'd like come good and then it would play up and all sorts of things. So that indicates a switch fault in the multimeter, because a lot of a multimeter's functionality comes from the switch. I mean, it does an awful lot of stuff. The mechanical contacts, they can get dirty, they can you know, lose their springiness. There could be some issue with the spring at manufacture, and you know, they're kind of complex little mechanical doodads, and they're not easy to get right. Switches. So, you know, if something's playing up with your multimeter, take it apart, take apart the switch contacts, have a look, maybe clean up the contacts and, you know, things like that. Have a look at the springs under a microscope or something, and just, you know, see that everything's kosher, that there's good downward pressure on them and all that sort of jazz. So anyway, I like 1, I thought, okay, you know, it happens. 2, there's probably something in that. And this 3rd one, I can show you here, the faded digits. And you can certainly see that straight on here. You can certainly see the digits up here have faded. It's only these ones, and it's not so bad on an angle looking down like this. So it's not so bad. You can probably see that there, you know, in that B-cam shot. You know, it looks really, you know, it looks pretty good. But you bring it up, and then you can really start to see it. So yeah, there you go. So that one, yeah, definitely faulty. So I just shipped a replacement one. Yeah, you can still see that one faded in there. So there's obviously something wrong with like the drive on that one. So could there be like a failed capping, one of the drive cap, charge caps or something like that for the LCD? Something like that perhaps. But I'm more actually concerned with this one here, actually, with the switch. Right, so this one here, was with the switch contacts, was reported as like flickering between ohms and diodes and stuff like that, and only like after a minute it would settle down, something like that. I'm not seeing this. I got it out of the box and it's all come good. Fresh batteries in there, so it's not a battery issue, but I have been able to make it. Oh, there we go, got it. I have been able to get it to reset by doing like just, you know, wobbling the switch there. So yeah, I think it's a switch contact thing, and I have not been able to reproduce that with any other ones that I've got here in the lab. So I've been dicking around with them, and maybe so it's not a systemic, I don't believe it's a systemic problem. Right, and push down on that, maybe try and pull it up, and nah, yeah, so I don't think it's a systemic switch problem. I think possibly someone at the factory just, you know, it has, because it's a manual process assembling these switches and screwing them into place. Maybe someone forgot a screw or something like that, or yeah, something's gone wrong. So anyway, there definitely seems to be something. Yeah, there we go. I'm making it. Sometimes I'm able to do it. Sometimes I'm. Yeah, there we go. It's coming. It's doing it with regularity now. Yep. So that's it's got to be a switch contact. Yeah. All right. Context. So let's take this sucker apart and let's have a squiz. And yes, Brymans aren't perfect. I've been selling the BM235. I sold countless thousands of those, and yes, there is a failure rate. I should keep better track of these sorts of things, but it's certainly not zero. You know, it's nothing to worry about. It's kind of like normal sort of failure rate you'd expect, even if they're 100% tested at the factory and everything else. You know, stuff can fail. things go wrong. I believe we've had a few, I've done a few videos over the years of BM235 failures. We've had a couple of like chip failures where like it's the main chip that's failed. So some sort of like silicon migration issue, you know, something like that, perhaps. That's like caused a main chip failure. So there's nothing we could add. That was confirmed by Brymen that it was a chip failure. So I believe we've had quite a few of those over the years and stuff like that. And but with a report of 2 of these having what appears to be, based on the symptoms, the switch contacts, then yeah, I mean, I still sold it's probably 5. Oh, how many? Yeah, no, I probably sold like 500 of these already. And yeah, so we need to get in there. A few screws down in here. So yeah, with any meter, you expect a natural. Oh, geez, that's tight as a nun's nasty. That is, what the, that one is a, that's terrible. It's really tight. So anyway, you can see that the switch here actually has 4 spaces on it, and they're actually screwed into the bottom side. Actually, what I'll do, before I do that, should have done that with the board screwed in. I'll just see if that, does that wiggle, yeah, at all? I'm just, don't know if that play is normal. I'd have to get another one to see, but I don't know. So anyway, I need to get in there and check those 4 screws, that's for sure. Need the fuse out. Oh, wow, these screws are so tight. Oh, springy. Okay, what I want to do on these screws here, see these 4 screws? Well, they haven't forgotten one, so that's all right. Just having a look here. All seem, oh, that one in the back corner there. My imagination, or is that one not flush? No, I think it's just the shape of the screw. I thought that looked like it was a bit off, but no. Okay, let's undo that. Wasn't the tightest, but I don't think it's a, I wouldn't have said it was loose. There we go, the switch has fallen out. Right, so let's have a look at the contacts down there. They look all right, don't they? There's no hair. No production hair, which happens. You open up products and you find hairs in production. Doesn't appear to be any fingerprints or anything like that, but it appeared, you know, it seemed like it was something, like it wasn't just a bad contact. It was like physically not robust. So I don't think it's, so I wouldn't expect to see anything there on the actual, like, you know, I wouldn't expect it to be like a contamination thing, really. And these wipe contacts, they're going to be fairly good. Wouldn't be concerned with those. It's just the pressure, due to, they've engineered it so that it contacts. It's all integral. Kind of like that approach. It's pretty good. And they've got, I like how they've got alignment posts here as well. Here and here, which go through a hole in the board, which just help align the thing. I guess that play there is normal. I think it would be. Make sure that goes back in. Part of our space in there for the switch. So, I don't know, that looked pretty good. I don't find a problem with that at all. So, if I put it back together and it works, and I can't force a fault on the switch, then I'm just going to say, well, maybe the screws just weren't tight enough. There we go, I've done that nicely. So maybe that one in that corner there, it didn't feel all that tight, but it should have been enough. It felt like it was enough, but I could certainly tighten it up more. Maybe that's it. I'm going to give that a good extra twist on the end there to get that back in. Extra little twist. See, I reckon that's all it'll take. Although if you had 3 in, you would think that'd be enough. I mean, the other one would have to be left out or be completely loosey-goosey. Oh, no. So no. I can feel that. Don't know if you can see that. But I mean, I've got to put a lot of pressure on it, but you know, if I put pressure on that, it goes through, it moves through. See that? So the whole mechanism does work. So, okay, I'll retract that comment. I think you do need all 4 nice and solid. One of them's probably enough to come a gutser. But apart from that, like, you know, I wouldn't expect anything else. I'm sure it's a switch thing. I'd be stunned if this wasn't a switch problem. Like, it's not going to be anything else, because it wasn't like a measurement thing. It was, you know, when a meter's acting up dickily like that, bet your bottom dollar that it's the switch is going to be the main culprit there. Little pro tip, doing self-taper screws like this, just turn it back until you find the point where it drops into place. You can't get it. This one's probably too small. Oh, there we go. Just got it. And that will line up with the existing thread. It's better with like the big self-tappers. You're getting like the flukes and stuff like that. So you just wind it back half a turn, like, well, wind it back a full turn until you find that where you can feel it go in. It's all about the feels. That's about the only time that it's feels versus reels. But the feels are reels in this particular case. They go in a lot easier than they came out, let me tell you. That's what she said. Only problem with the BM786, it's a great meter, but you do have to take it apart to change the fuses. So that's a bit of a bummer. Get that screen of wiper dipe. Okay, so put my grubby mitts on it. Let's go. Here we go. Oh, no, I got it to do it. Nah, look. Nah, there's something else. Nah. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. So it's a... is there some production tolerance issue? Like there could be, you know, like some of the plastic mold in for the switch thing might have came out of the mold wrong, and there's just no fix, you know, or there's, you probably could fix it if you spend ages trying to figure it out, but it's obviously the switch contact. And I can't do this on any other meter. I cannot do it. I don't know. If you've got a BM786, give it a go. Put it in ohms position and try and give it a wiggle, 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 yeah. And I've tried other meters as well, and I can't get it. Can't get it. So, yeah. Yeah, oh, there you go. Well, yeah, no, it's almost, it's practice. It's exactly the same. That seemed like the same amount of effort required to do that as last time. So, wasn't the contacts, it's not contamination. It's, you know, and people say, oh, Dave, you should have wiped the contacts. It's like, no, there's no point. Like, there's enough pressure coming from those. You could have, you know, it really doesn't matter. They should be like self-wiping effectively. So, and can I get that to happen in a, oh, yeah, there. Can I get that to happen in millivolt position? I can hear, I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, no, there's something wrong. I do not get the same, there's no noise. There's no noise when I do that, and there's very little play in that switch. This one, yeah, it's got this noise, and there's larger play in the switch. Yeah, I just got it resetting. Just got it resetting based on the millivolt, yeah. Nah, there's something really dicky with that switch contact. So that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, now I can hear that. I think that was there before as well. Yeah, I'm just making it come and go. Wow. Yeah, there's something horribly wrong with that switch. So, but as I said, like, it doesn't take much in the tolerance of the plastic molds and stuff to actually be out on these things. So, you know, you get dodgy parts coming out of molds all the time. And if it's out by a slight bit, that could, you know, cause other problems. I mean, what I could do is I could get a donor, you know, a known good donor unit, and I could simply transplant. The good thing about that mechanism, It's all in one. So I could transplant that over, and I'll see if it has that play in it and see if that fixes it. And if it does, then there's some, like minor, there's got to be minor tolerance issues, because it seems to work. Whereas the viewer who had it, they said like it was just sitting there and it was flickering between ohms and diodes and stuff, and I totally believe it. And I shipped a new one, and he said, yeah, it works fine. But it's had to ship halfway around the world back to me. So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, there you go. Hey, it's permanently off. Yay, I got it. It's permanently off. Look at that. Look at that. I switched it off permanently. Am I able to do that again? Because the power contacts are part of, it's one of the wipes inside the switch is the actual power contact. It's obviously, so you can figure out which actual track was doing it and stuff like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is actually swap the switch mechanism, which doesn't have an issue on the LCD, faulty LCD one, over to here. I'll simply just transplant the whole thing over. So that will tell it, if it comes good, then that will tell us if like there's something inside there, be it, like a dodgy molding or some other, alignment type issue to do with the entire assembly. So I really don't believe it's the contacts or anything like that. So anyway, let's transplant this one over to here and see what's what. So anyway, there you go. Right, so I'll put it like that, and I'll know to flip it back that way. So I've got to make sure I don't get this mixed up. All right, here we go. Lift that out of there like that, and we'll flippity-doo-dah this one over. And yeah, there's I'm not seeing anything on the contacts. I'm pretty darn sure it's nothing to do with the contacts down there. So, as I said, there's generally multimeter switches are pretty good at self-wiping because they've got that contact pressure coming down. So, generally, that shouldn't be a problem. Although the interesting thing is, looking at this switch mechanism here, it could be a height thing of this. There's not really, and it maybe even the standoff or something like that. I can just imagine that if this is slightly higher, or any of these are slightly higher, or even these supports here, although that's overcome by the screws, I guess. But yeah, if there's a slight, or it could even be this is slightly, the thickness is slightly out or something like that. So there's not really much else that can go wrong. Maybe the, there could be, but if you had, say, if it was thicker than normal and you had extra thickness in there, it'd only push the contacts, it'd only put more force on the contacts onto the PCB. So yeah, there's a few ways it can go wrong, but anyway, we won't care about the details. All we care about is, does this make a difference? If it, I'm be surprised if this doesn't work, because then we're talking about the contacts on the PCB or some other thing. I don't believe it's going to be an electrical problem, because we're pushing on those contacts and it comes a gutser. So let's put that back in. Okay, so that's back in. So I shouldn't need to put the screws back into that board just to get it. Because the pressure of this board going down should make no difference to that in there. So I can just simply whack this back on. Oh, no, you do have to, hang on, that's not, why is that not doing anything? Yeah, yep, you do have to screw the board down. Oops. Can't see why you have to screw that board down. Probably, I don't know, because it pushes down. That's kind of weird. Surely I don't need more than 2 screws. These are a bit tricky to put back together. This top bit doesn't want to go in. It's really rather annoying. Got a snappity doodah into place. But why is that? There's no snap in that range switch. What the? It's almost as if it's not making contact. What's going on? This is pushing into there. There's no play in that. That should go into the center of there. There's the indent mechanism like that. That should rotate and snap. Maybe I didn't get that in when I put it in. What? Somehow that shaft isn't going in. You hate it when your shaft doesn't go in. That looks like it matches up absolutely perfectly with the alignment. There. That looks perfect. There we go. There we go. Don't know why it didn't go in before, but now this top bit won't go in. Rawr! How do they assemble these at the factory? There's got to be a trick to this. I think my career aspirations at the Brymen factory are all but shot. Aha, wasn't those screws, was it? Let me take those out completely and try that. Yeah, yep, that was it. It was a bloody screw. Wow. Okay. Okay. There you go. Self-tapping screws. Oh, there we go. There we go. Got it. Got it. All right. These screws are designed to be captive, so they're not designed to come out all the way like that. But the problem is that if you treat them captive like that, then you can come a gutser putting it back together. There you go. All right, battery pack. I'll just do up these two screws here, just for good measure, because it's kind of around where the switch is, even though it shouldn't make any difference. All right, we're on. Okay, everything's hunky-dory. And here we go. Let's... Yep. 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 Yep, as expected. It's fixed it. Yeah. Which is good, because I would have been really surprised if that didn't fix it. So, yeah, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with that. I mean, the spring contacts all look good. Hey, the spring contacts all look nice, right? It's not like one's bent or short or anything like that. They look really good. So I'd say, yeah, maybe there's a slight tolerance difference with the plastics. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Did that? Nah. Nah, I can't. Oh, I got it. Oh, but gee. Oh, no, I got it. Well, yeah, look, I'm able to make it do it again. What? Wow. Wow. Oh, come on. Come on. What's going on? Well, that is most remarkable. There's something oddball with that. All right. What I'm going to do... Okay, right. Wow, I thought I had it there for a minute. Okay, I'm going to put this one back into here and see if we can reproduce the fault on the LCD one. I doubt it. Okay, so there's something with that board. All right, so there's the LCD unit back together with the switch mechanism from the other meter. Of course, we're still getting the issue with the LCD. I'm not really concerned about fixing the LCD thing. I might have a look at it if I've got some time, but anyway, let's go over to the ohms. And can we get that to do anything? Now the problem is that before I thought that was fixed, right? So let that be a lesson to you. You can come a gutser with you've got your hypothesis on what's causing the problem. You make the chart like I thought, it'd be in that switch contact. Like I came up with some ideas about the moldings, being slightly out and stuff like that. All valid, right? Really valid hypothesis. And then you make the change over to the different meter, and then you go and then you test it for a bit, and you think, winner, winner, chicken dinner, right? My hypothesis was correct. But then you keep testing a little bit more, and you find that you come a gutser. So just be careful of that. What? Oh, no, I think I pressed a button there. Oh, hang on. No, I thought I pressed a button, but I was able to get... Oh, there we go. Got it. Got it. Wow, there you go. We're talking about the hypothesis thing before, but I really have to be violent with this. It's really... Anyway, we are a long way, even with this meter, we are a long way from the reported fault of it simply just having the switch there, and it was just switching between diode and resistance and stuff like that. So maybe there was It might have been a loosey-goosey screw in there. Oh, see, no, this one I can make it do it really easy. So, yeah, this one is much harder, but I am able to make it do it eventually. Maybe. Now it's not going to happen again, right? So, I don't know. Look, I'm going to have to call it quits for this video. You can spend countless hours investigating something like this, you know, and without having, you know, get in there and actually calipers and measuring all the plastic parts and something, you know, it's more something for the manufacturer to figure out. So I might send this video to Brymen and say, hey, you know, potential issue. I've had a couple of reports of this, potentially being a switch thing. Oh, there we go. Wow. No, it's just like, what? What? There's something, I could not make this happen before. So did something transplant over with that switch mechanism? It could be a combination of tolerances with that particular switch mechanism in here and in the else with that came out of here and this PCB or something. So it could be tolerance stacking or some other weird, you know, aspect like that. So anyway, that is fascinating. It didn't fix it, and potentially I've transplanted the fault over to this LCD one. Kinda, sorta. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, got it to happen again, but it's not the same failure. Yeah, we got it to repower. There we go. It's, oh, okay. There's got to be some repeatability to that. There's got to be some, you know, because I can go like that and not do it, right? I'm putting a lot of force. Oh, there we go. But, and yet others times, if I put I'm just giving different force directions here. Use the force Luke. But yeah, sometimes you can get it, sometimes you can't. But I could, for the life of me, I could not get it happened on this or any other meter that I had here. So maybe something has transplanted. The only way to be sure is to like maybe thoroughly test a third control meter, like, you know, bang it for hours and make sure you can't do anything like that. There's no issues, and then transplant the switch mechanism again from this one over to a third one, and then if the virus transfers from here to here to here, then you know you've got something in those plastics, or you know there's something to do with the contacts or whatever. So you can really hopefully see how this could be a real pain in the butt to actually troubleshoot something like this. You know, you could spend days, weeks, possibly investigating an issue like this. If you're Brymen, you know, to thoroughly test, you might get, you know, 50 units or something and thoroughly, you know, even have a jig that sort of jiggles them and like see if you can make it happen. And then, I don't know, get one of these and get the, you know, try and find a faulty one and then try and make it, then, you know, extensively measure and compare those ones with your tolerances for your switches, for your, you know, they'd have a drawing, for example, that specifies tolerances for all the plastics and the molds and the contacts and everything else. And yeah, only Brymen would have that sort of data. So in theory, I could do the thorough investigation myself, but it's many, many days of work, I think, to really get to the bottom of something like this. And you may not. It may require Brymen to do it. Anyway, that is fascinating. So please leave it in the comments down below if you've had an issue with your BM786, if you can reproduce this thing at all. I don't want people to damage their meter. They were really, you know, like really banging the switch and stuff like that. I'm only doing it in the ohms position. I'm just going to treat that as a reference. You might be able to, you know, make it happen somewhere else. I just don't know. Or whether or not, you know, that just happens to be a susceptible position based on, you know, whatever mechanisms going wrong here. But yeah, it's definitely a physical thing. And as I said, these multimeter switch mechanisms are a little complex little beastie, and it's not always easy to absolutely get them right. So there you go. Catch you next time.